Today I'd like to show you how to change out this frame liner on this Marvin Outswing doors. These could be a little tricky to do. I found a way that works easiest for me and it may work for you. So let's get started. So one of the first things you got to do is go ahead and remove the frame weather stripping. Just take a sharpened flat putty knife, put it between the wood and the weather stripping here, and just pull it out. Next, go ahead and remove these screws. Go ahead and remove these cups. Go ahead and remove this. Be very careful not to break this any more than it already is, because we're going to have to use this as a template. Okay, with this alarm contact here, we're going to go ahead and cut around it like that, and then we'll go ahead and shove it back up under here. And when we put the new liner on there, it'll cover that. When you receive the new ones from the factory, there's no prep on them, so you're gonna have to do that in the field. Now, one thing you can do is take the old one out and put it on top of the new one. Take a pencil and draw where the old marks are, and then take a utility knife and cut it out. I'll tell you that is extremely time-consuming and dangerous. So I found the easiest thing for me was to go ahead and take and make a template. And what I did is I made it so I can take the new piece to cut this in, slide it in there, and then I could put it in there and slide it, and I could mark where the pencil mark is on the new ones, and then take a router with one of these bits with the collar that's at the top. And that allows me to route it and give me a clean route. So let me show you. Okay, I'm taking the new piece and I'm making sure that it's cut the same length. As you can see, the reason why I try to tell you to take this off in one piece is so you can take this, mirror the two pieces, make sure it's flat on this side, and then you can go ahead and trace your new holes. But since this piece is so badly damaged, I already did one earlier, and I managed to get this one off in one piece. So we'll line up the ends. I'm making sure that it's lined up here and lined up here. I'm going to just take a regular pencil and trace out where the old holes were. Hopefully you can see the pencil marks okay, so we'll go ahead and put this in the template. Slide that in there like that. Not sure if you can see that, but I lined it up with the pencil marks. Be very careful when you put your router in when it's turning, because you don't want your blade to damage your template. There you go. Go ahead and trim this little piece off on the back side. Yeah, and it'll fit in there. I showed you earlier where I took out the alarm contact from this and put it behind here. This will still work with this covering it, so it'll even look better than what it was before. So we'll go ahead. I find what works best for me is to line up the two center holes first. Of course, make sure any debris that's in there is out of there. Okay, I got the holes lined up. I'll go ahead and put these in there just to make sure nothing moves. Now that I got those in, I'll go ahead and push these in. And you have to use a block of wood, just hit these in. Now it's time to go ahead and put the weather stripping back in. Just make sure this little connecting barb goes into the kerf that's here. And make sure that there's no gap here. This has to be pressed in all the way or the door will not close properly. And this is the finished look, just like this. Nice and clean. So to replace these ones, because we got a crack here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start by removing the weather stripping. And then we're going to take measurements from up here to this top of this hinge, then up there to this hinge. Because sometimes these pieces could expand or shrink. The measurements could be off. They should be pretty consistent. But first, we're going to go ahead and get this removed. Just use a stiff, sharpened putty knife. Put it between the weather stripping and the wood. We're going to take our measurement from the top to the top of the hinge there, and then we'll go down and measure that and write all the measurements down. You may have to remove the hinge to get this part off, or you can pry it out like this. So this one didn't come off easily, so we're going to go ahead and remove the top screw so we can get that part off. And as you can see, there is a connecting barb that goes behind that spot. I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. If any of that's still left in there, we're going to go ahead and pull that out. That one has to be pulled out because when we put the new one in, it's going to be in the way. The reasoning for getting that removed, so when we cut the new piece, we're going to go ahead and cut these barbs off, and then that way we can just slip it over just like that. So since we got all that cleaned out, we're going to go ahead and reattach this top hinge. Okay, we got our measurements here. So from the top of the vinyl to the top of the hinge, the first one's 6 1/8, next one 31 5/8, 57 1/8, and 82 5/8. So with a very fine pencil, I'm gonna go ahead and mark these. So I'm gonna measure, so from the top of the jam vinyl, the top of the hinge is 6 1/8, and then I'm gonna take this pencil mark and line it up to the edge of my template here. So I'm gonna go ahead and run that in there. So my pencil mark is right here, and then we'll take the router and we're going to start one in, go just a little bit, and then come back around and go this way. Because the router goes a certain way, if I just went around like this, we can have a blowout over here. So I'm going to start, notch this side, and then work my way all the way around. Okay, we got our first one cut, just like this, and then we'll go ahead and take some thick scissors here. This way we're not making a huge mess of this piece or taking any chances of this piece damaging this router bit. So let's go ahead, just like that. Now we'll do the other 4. We got our first piece cut. Let's go ahead and see how it fits.
Feels like it's hitting something.
It's time to go ahead and put the weather stripping back in. Make sure it's all the way in. Make sure there's no gaps between the weather stripping and that side jam parting stop. As we see here, there is no gap between the weather stripping in here. It should look nice and tight, just like that. And this is the finished product of the jam vinyl. Not 100% perfect, I know. Because we saw on the template on the other side, we're gonna go ahead and take some black paint and we're gonna put that on there just so it looks a little better. That way the finished product looks a lot better. Well, there you have it. That's how I replaced the jam vinyl on the hinge side and on the header on a Marvin Outswing door. And if you found this video informative, please consider hitting the subscribe button below. Thank you for watching and have a great day.